Time for News on the Hour.
It's midday. Good afternoon. Thanks for staying with us here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. I'm Rayo Omotosho. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, has decried the dominance of foreign published materials in the nation's academic institutions, regretting that the development has taken its toll on foreign exchange. The minister stated this Thursday while unveiling 50 new textbooks published by the Nigerian authors under the sponsorship of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund. Speaking through the Minister of State for Education, Goodluck Nanaopia, at the public presentation of the textbooks in Abuja, the minister said the publications will end the dominance of foreign academic materials in the nation's institutions. The minister, who commended TET Fund for the publications, challenged the agency and authors to also produce books with the nation's indigenous languages. Former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Olisa Agbakoba, SAN, Thursday said the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, ought not to have been in existence. He said the commission currently operates outside the Constitution. According to him, since the EFCC is a creation of the National Assembly, it does not have the power to interfere with the activities of state governments. The senior advocate of Nigeria insists that the 1999 Constitution only provides one police force for Nigeria, adding that since the anti-graft agency is not a branch of the police, it cannot perform its functions.
I was so glad to be vindicated by the Supreme Court about 5 months ago. The Supreme Court, in a very strongly worded judgment, castigated this EFCC and said, look, if you interpret your powers granted under Section 46 of the EFCC Act in the way you do, then it means that you are the sole law enforcement agency in Nigeria, but you're not. So the Supreme Court redefined the functions of the EFCC in a very narrow manner as prescribed by the Act. It is not for the EFCC to be chasing the Kogi state government and saying,
Agbakoba pointed out that the EFCC remains a federal establishment created by the National Assembly, adding that under Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution, the powers of government are divided into two, the federal and the state. A total of 14 bodies have been recovered, while 6 are still missing in Tuesday's boat accident in Koko Bese local government area of Kebbi. The boat was conveying about 100 rice farmers to Samanaji, a riverside community, when it capsized. 80 people were rescued alive while the search for the 6 missing persons continues. Governor Atiku Bagudu, accompanied by the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, were in the community Thursday to commiserate with them over the accident. He prayed for those who died and their families to bear the loss with fortitude. The governor commended those who rendered assistance towards the rescue of the boat passengers and ongoing search for the missing persons. In a statement signed by Festus Okoye, the National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, INEC has called on all eligible registrants to collect their PVCs from registration areas as of Friday, January 6th. The Commission also announced that the International Conference Center, ICC, in Abuja will serve as the National Situation Room and Collation Center for the 2023 general election. INEC said it has therefore established 2 committees. The first is the Collation Secretariat Committee, which will be responsible for the collation of presidential results from the states. And the committee will be chaired by Mahmoud Yakubu, the INEC chairman, who will be assisted by a few technical staff. The second is the Situation Room and Collation Center Committee, which will be responsible for the preparation of the venue, seating arrangement, utilities and services, security, the accreditation of party agents, national and international observers, and the media. Members include May Agbamuchambo, the National Commissioner, who will serve as chairperson, as well as Abdullahi Abduzuru, the National Commissioner, and Festus Okoye, the National Commissioner. Sudan has closed its borders with the Central African Republic Thursday and sent military reinforcements to border areas following the announcement by a senior Sudanese official that his country had stopped a military coup attempt in the Central African Republic moving from Sudan. The Sudan news agency SUNA reported that forces from the Sudanese army and paramilitary rapid support forces had been redeployed to the border between the two African nations, citing Brigadier Abashar Adam Balil, the head of the joint forces, to secure the borders between Sudan and the Central African Republic. Balil said Sudan had sent a large force and widely redeployed troops in the area, adding that the border needs to be secured to combat factors of insecurity, including the spread of weapons. Moving on to Europe, Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered a temporarily unilateral ceasefire for 36 hours. It will take place from the 6th to the 7th of January to coincide with the Russian Orthodox Christmas holiday. The Kremlin says Putin made this decision after an appeal from the head of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill. President Volodymyr Zelensky has, however, rejected and dismissed the ceasefire as an empty gesture and an attempt by Moscow to gain time to regroup its forces.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered temporary ceasefire of 36 hours over Orthodox Christmas in Ukraine on January 6th and 7th. Putin further said that he's open to talks with Ukraine if Kiev accepts territorial losses to Russia in the east and south. In a telephonic conversation with his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Putin said he's open to talks with Ukraine if Kiev accepts the new territorial realities on the ground. Meanwhile, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg has warned that it would be...
President Zelensky of Ukraine says he demands Russia to move out of the territory before any truce can be discussed. But while the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has warned the United States and its allies not to underestimate Russia in the ongoing war against Ukraine. Stoltenberg made this known Thursday at a business conference in Oslo. He said it would be dangerous to underestimate Russia's President Vladimir Putin's ambitions amid the war in Ukraine. He said they've shown a great willingness to tolerate losses and suffering. Putin has shown no indication, however, that he has changed his plans and goals in Ukraine, so it is dangerous to underestimate Russia. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, verified a total of 6,919 civilian deaths since the war in Ukraine began. And in sports, at least 32 players from the Cameroon under-17 team have failed the magnetic resonance imaging MRI screening aimed to verify their age. The test was mandated by Samuel Eto'o, the president of the Cameroonian Football Association. The MRI screening is a scan of the player's bone density to accurately ascertain their true age. Out of the initial squad of 30 players who camped in Mbakomo, Yaoundé, 21 players failed that test. Another 11 players have also failed the scan done as recently as Tuesday. Jean-Pierre Fiala, the coach of the team, is faced with the dilemma of putting together a squad ahead of the upcoming Central African Football Federation Union qualifiers for the 2023 CAF Under-17 Championship. Cameroon is billed to host Congo, Chad, and the Central African Republic between January 12th and 24th to determine which countries will represent the region in the age grade competition scheduled for Algeria in April. Former world number one Daniil Medvedev set up an Adelaide International semi-final against either Novak Djokovic or Denis Shapovalov Friday with the command performance in the countdown to the opening Grand Slam of the year. The Russian runner-up at the last two Australian Opens proved too strong for compatriot Karen Khachanov in a straightforward 6-3, 6-3 win. Serbian top seed Djokovic bidding for a 92nd career title and first in Adelaide since 2007 locked horns with Canada's Shapovalov in an evening clash. And that's the Citizen FM News at noon, as compiled and edited by Lawrence Umaite. I'm Raya Motosho. Thanks for listening. You can listen to us online via www.citizenfm.ng or follow us on any of our social media platforms.